Welcome to the Doghouse. Hope you're having a great day. This is about how Jerry Jones of the NFL has become Al Davis of the NFL. Yes, have sympathy for me. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan and always have been and always will. But I recognize the things that Al Davis did to innovate the NFL and move it forward, which he really did do. But both of them, as they got older, both of them always had an ego. But when they got older, their ego has taken over common sense. And Jerry Jones is doing exactly what Al Davis did in the past. Their egos, both of them, Jerry Jones's ego has taken over common sense. Yes, he's made a lot of money, and I have all the respect for him going out and making what he did. But with this team, it's almost like he don't care if he wins or loses as long as he gets his way. And he is the owner, so he's got the right to do it. Does that mean he's using common sense with the team? No, he should use some of his business savvy he has and put it into the team. Now, Mitch Parsons, he could have signed him a year or two ago, cheaper than what he wanted today. Why didn't his ego took over? Jerry's ego takes over. And Jerry and his boy has this thing, you don't negotiate with him or make anything final until the final minutes. Well, I'm glad Mitch didn't do that. Micah Parsons, I call him Mitch. But anyway, the problem was Micah didn't fall for it. No, if you were going to get, and I could see Jerry not wanting him there because of maybe now he could have got him cheaper, but as of this year, he could have went and said, "Well, I'm going to get rid of him. I'm trading him. I'm not going to pay him this much money." Then you would have had the same circumstances for another team. You could have had two higher draft picks, one this year and one next year. Who knows next year? But you could have got a higher deal from another team for their first round this year. You wouldn't have had to waited being stupid by waiting as long as you did because you was thinking he was going to cave and come back to you. Did not happen. But there is no reason if you wanted him, you would not have signed him. You didn't want him, and you wanted to wait until the last minute to get rid of him because your ego wouldn't let you do the right thing. Remember, I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. I just think he has gotten so dumb. He has taken over the Al Davis of the NFL. Why would you even trade somebody even now if you would want him traded to the or AFC? You would not want him in the NFC. AFC's so you wouldn't have to deal with him hardly at all. That would have been an ideal thing. But you give him to a team that's going to be good this year and good next year. And what I mean is give. You're going to get a low draft choice this year, low draft choice next year. You give them a high quality player because of your ego. You have no common sense whatsoever in this case. And like I said, I think he's a very brilliant man of the money he's made. But but now in the football end of things, he has gotten really, really bad. He is so much into himself that the team means nothing to him. Well, I take that back. The team means a good ego trip for himself. In my opinion, that's what it comes down to. Once again, Jerry Jones has did great stuff for the NFL, and he really has, but Everything's going by the wayside, just like with Al Davis. The ego is taken over, and that's all that matters. Winning a championship really don't matter. It's not a priority because the egos get in the way, and his son don't seem much better about it. But when you give up talent to a productive team that is more likely going to be in the playoffs, you just give him Micah Parsons because you're giving him like a second round, a low second round. You get nothing in return. And I don't blame him for not wanting him if he didn't want to pay that. He should have already been gone. Higher draft picks, everything's all well and fine. I am a Mitch Parsons fan, but I could see him not wanting to pay that much money for him if you could have went in and got a high draft pick this year, because you'd probably get a decent one next year out of the whole deal. And I never went to the NFC with him, but his ego wouldn't let him do that. His ego is so bad, he's willing to sacrifice a team to make it seem like he is right. And regardless of what he does, he is the owner and have the right, but it will never justify what he done. It never justifies at all the end result. All you did, you have a team that could actually do something, you immediately made that team worse. You're willing to sacrifice somebody that would help you, but you want it to hinder you, and that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what he did. You don't get rid of a high caliber player unless your ego gets in the way. This all could have been done and taken care of a long time ago if you so desired to. You did not. You like the annex. Look at Dak, same Lamb, same thing. Even back Herschel Walker, they made a good deal on that one, but he likes to wait until the last minute, and what it does is make him stand out over the team. Everything with the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones has to be the forefront, not the players or anything else. He has to be the one in the limelight all the time, and that's part of the problem. If he cannot be in the limelight, he has a problem with things. Forget what he says he does to help the team. Overall, he does not. And that's a shame because he used to. Al Davis, same exact thing. Al Davis was good and competitive, and all of a sudden he did what is unthinkable. Jerry Jones is leading down that same path as he did. Jerry Jones should be embarrassed. The Dallas Cowboys need to be better than that. But you will not let them. You will try to stop them at every cost. You don't want them to be good. Every time they get good, you do something stupid. Why do you think, and I don't have anything against Marty Schottenheimer, or Shotty, or whatever you want to call him, because he is a good coach. But why did you have to pick him? Let's see. You had a whole bunch of people out there looking for good coaches, looking for a good coaching job, but they didn't want it. That tells you something. Why didn't they want it? And I don't care what all these people out there and these sports reporters say. they go, well, this is a coveted job. Anybody would want that. That's a bunch of crap. In the past, 100% right. But you had all them out there and they didn't want to. That tells you something. It's not that coveted a job right now because they do not want to deal with Jerry Jones. Now, I'm a fan of Kellen Moore. I don't know if he'll be a good coach or not because he's from Boise State. I live on the other part of Idaho. I never rooted for him unless he was in a bowl game. Then I'd root for Boise State. Otherwise, I didn't. But I don't know how good he is. But I tell you what, are going to be. He's a good offensive coordinator, obviously. But I'm glad, even though it's my team, I am glad he didn't take the Cowboys coaching job. I don't think with his demeanor he could have handled this in the long run. Because you have to handle things, stupidity of Jerry Jones. And I don't think he could have. He could have been the best coach in the world. It wouldn't have made any difference. But going back to why they wound up with Schottenheimer, I couldn't believe it. All these other commentators are out there going, well, this is a coveted job. Anybody would want this job. Anybody? Why? Where were the people? Where were the people that could coach? Never even wanted to. That's because they don't want to deal with Jerry Jones. Yes, there's other managers out there that's as bad, and I think that's why Kellen Moore got his job. Although he's a good coordinator, and I hope he's a good coach in the end, Mickey Loomis does stupid things also. But Jerry Jones would be a very, very hard person to work for. One of the reasons Jimmy Johnson wasn't there because Jerry's ego got in the way. He didn't like the idea that Jimmy Johnson was above him in the limelight. And Jerry Jones can't stand that. And later on, every time he starts to get a good team, he has to jump out in front and be on every podcast and everything else he can to show he's the Dallas Cowboys. The team's a bunch of peons. He's the Dallas Cowboys. Without him, they're nothing. Well, you're making them into nothing, I'll tell you that. This team has a whole lot of talented players, but can they work together? Do you not think this is going to be a distraction, or could be? I'm not saying it's going to be, but could this be a distraction? Having Micah on this team and arguing contract, that would have been a distraction. That was good. That's not going to happen, that part. But none of this should have ever occurred. And there's only one person's fault that it did occur, and that's Jerry Jones. And like I said, this comes from a guy. I've always been a Dallas Cowboy fan, always will. And the reason why I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm 66 and I've been watching stuff quite a while. In the 60s, I was so mesmerized by Tom Landry and how he ran that team. I mean, to me, that was the greatest thing in the world is how he ran that. But ownership didn't get in his way on how to run the team. Now, and it's gotten worse, Jerry Jones interferes in how the team is run, and instead of letting the coaches run it. And that's kind of obvious anymore. So why don't we get back to having Dallas be Dallas, like them or not? And by the way, send me sympathy money if you don't, for me being a Dallas Cowboy fan and having Jerry Jones as the owner. I'm joking. I don't mean that. I'm just saying that as a joke. But it is interesting how Jerry Jones come in and he innovated some things, just like Al Davis innovated some things in football. Jerry Jones was doing the exact same thing, and both of them are winding up in the same spot, although one's no longer with us, is because the ego driven is good to a point, but when you go overboard, which both of them have and did, this is the result. You're so stuck on yourself, you're willing to sacrifice a whole team because of that. Yes, I'm going to root for them to be in the playoffs and everything else because I really hope they are. That has nothing to do with the owner in this case. The owner has, and I used to like, I don't hate him by any means, but I was a big fan of these Jimmy Johnson as a coach and everything else until I seen who had the bigger ego, Jimmy Johnson or the owner. Well, I think it was more like the owner had the bigger problem. Jerry Jones' bigger problem here. So that's exactly what happened. The ego of Jerry Jones took over. I like Jerry Jones, but he's to the point he is Al Davis. And I've heard that from more than one person. And I've been saying that, by the way, for over a year, that he's becoming Al Davis. I've left comments on other people's sites saying exactly that. Over a year. Probably closer to 2 years I've been saying that. Because when you let your ego get in the way, even if it's not football, your ego gets in the way, you're going to lose. And out of all the people that know this to be Jerry Jones, look at the millions he's made. That isn't because he let the ego get in his way. Yes, he still have an ego, which all the more power to him, but he's letting that ego control him. If he tried that in his business today, when he first started, he would have been nothing. He just wouldn't have. And the interview or press conference, I shouldn't say interview, but the press conference he gave was a bunch of crap coming out of his mouth because he knew he screwed up. He knew he screwed up bad. And everybody else knows that too. He was up there lying, in my opinion, lying a lot about this stuff. Because he was tried to break Micah to get him a contract worth nothing. Because he thought Micah would cave. Micah did not cave. So instead of Jerry Jones actually wanting to negotiate with him, he would soon the team take several steps backwards instead of going forwards. And like I said, if it was before preseason and all that, you didn't want him around. You didn't want that last year of his contract. Throw him out there to people in the AFC and get what you can because you would have got a higher draft pick than what you're going to get. Maybe 2 years of it. But your ego got in the way to try to destroy somebody that was there and give his all out for you. You didn't like that, So you had a problem with it. This team still can win without Micah, but the process that you went through is so stupid. You're giving up a really, really good player and taking a step backwards. Welcome aboard the new Al Davis, Jerry Jones.